Welcome back to the Division 2. I recently did a video saying just how much the Ridgeway's Pride exotic chest from the summit sucks. And a lot of you in the comments have told me to try it with a tank build because you're supposed to, you basically regen armor. So the more armor you have, the more beneficial it's going to be. And running a DPS build, you're going to kill the enemies really fast. So what I've done is there will be footage of me using the Ridgeway's Pride chest. Then there will also be footage of me using the Tardigrade. I can tell you right now, straight away, that survivability seems to be okay if you have a build that has armor regen, a lot of armor, you're running a shield with it, and we will go through my build at the end of the video. But I would like to tell you the differences between the Ridgeway's Pride and the Tardigrade, because I can tell you right now, hands down, the Tardigrade is the better of the two. After running it on a survivability build, I did see that I was surviving a little bit longer, but there are absolutely no benefits because, as I've said before, you are not going to be able to get that many enemies close together. I put on the Stinger Hive, I was running the Liberty pistol with the shield, and it just didn't make any difference. Whereas if you're playing in groups, the Tardigrade will benefit your entire team because you get armor back. And if you are playing solo, then you might as well just run Unbreakable because that's going to just give you a lot more survivability. It gives you a huge amount of your armor back upon armor break instead of having to be incredibly close to enemies to benefit from armor regen. You can get a decent amount of armor regen just by speccing into it with your attributes. I've got like 66,000 per second. And whilst I'm using a shield and getting into cover, the armor comes back very, very fast. 1.9 mil armor takes about 25 to 30 seconds to regen fully. And if you have the shield on like a 15-20 second cooldown because you've got all blues, you don't have skill tier or anything, then all you've got to do is sit behind cover for a little bit of time and then you've just got the shield back and your armor can regen whilst you've got your shield out. It's incredibly situational to run the Ridgeway's Pride in PVE, but I've heard a lot of people say that it's a PvP chest. It's going to help you out when you are near other players in the DZ and you're applying bleeds, but I do have an idea as to what the developers could have done if they tested it properly to make it more of a PvE chest. They still can do it, but it would require making modifiers and changing things around so that PvP has completely different stats to PvE. And I don't think they're going to do that work. Even though I feel they kind of need to do it because in order to get this chest, you're going through a long grind of playing the Summit game mode. The Summit is a PvE experience, so if we're getting a chest from it that is for PvP use, then where is our reward for the PvE players? Why are we doing PvE content and getting PvP gear? The only other reward you get from this is a little bit of XP. The XP is an absolute shambles in that mode. That needs reworking as well. But when you defeat the hunters on floor 100, you get some XP, you get a teal gear dye, which doesn't even look that nice. The only reason I'm running it is because I've got it. You also get an arm patch and a backpack trophy. That's all you get for completing 100 floors of this mode. I mean, realistically, if you can complete 50, because you can skip half of it. But it's got legendary on the top 20 floors. Random directives are chucked in. They're not even using the new directives, they're using the old ones still. But there is a benefit from playing Summit compared to other things in the game, and that is the loot is better. When I say better, I mean you've got a higher percentage of getting your first random attribute to match the core, and you also have less rainbows drop in. I will be doing a video soon talking about the rainbow loot in the open world. I've already done one video recently, which is on the channel already, for the rainbow loot and the percentages of the loot matching random attribute to core. So what I think they should do with this Ridgeway's Pride chest is double the distance of which you can apply bleeds to enemies when you shoot them. So instead of it being 10 meters, I think it should go to 20. Because that way you have a much bigger radius, you don't need to be so close, you still need survivability to be running around like chasing enemies and being close to them. But then what they need to do is they need to remove the distance of which bleeding enemies give you armor regen. There shouldn't be a distance on that at all. 10 meters for both of those parts of the talent is a complete waste. You can tell by the fact that both distances are 10 meters that hardly any testing at all has gone into this. The only testing they've really done is the PTS, and they haven't had enough valuable feedback to sort this chest piece out. They need to start rewarding people that are playing PvE content with PvE pieces of gear, and then do the same for PvP. If they wanted this exotic chest piece to be a PvP piece of gear, then lock it behind some PvP content. Add something new to the Dark Zones. They could do something like get 5 shield kills, 5 SMG kills, 5 LMG kills, 5 AR kills, like 5 kills for each weapon type, including the shield in conflict, and that could be part of a project in order to get this chest. But then we need something else for the PvE players. They even could have used a building from one of the Dark Zones and put some like mission type in there that requires PvP players to go through and do certain stuff in order to unlock some chests or to like get some pieces of gear, similar to the Ridgeway's Pride. I think the percentages of the armor regen also need to be looked at again, because 1% for one enemy that close, if it's going to stay 10 meters, is nowhere near good enough. If anything, they need to, like, if they're going to keep the distances, they need to work their way up so that you're eventually getting 100% of your armor back, and it basically just keeps stacking so that you're getting all of your armor back. Or something like 80%, so that it's not always just the full amount. But 25% for 10 meter distance is nowhere near good enough when you can just run a survivability build with 1.9 million armor, whack on a shield, you can wear the Tardigrade, or you can even get an extra brand set bonus in there by running a chest with Unbreakable, especially if you're solo. The Tardigrade isn't going to benefit you as much as a standard chest with Unbreakable will. You can even, if you want, like if you've got 2-piece Badger Tough, so that you're getting these extra health percentage or something that you get from Badger Tough 2-piece, you can even run the 0Fs, because that has perfectly Unbreakable. It is going to benefit you even more than the standard variant of the Unbreakable talent. So the Ridgeway's Pride, if they want people to actually go through the grind and be willing to do it, they need to give it much better stats. The way it currently works is in no way, shape or form acceptable for a PvE reward. So what we're going to do now is take a look at the build, and then that is going to wrap it up for the video. So starting off with the stats, 287k weapon damage, 20% crit chance, 40% crit damage, 80% headshot damage. So I'm not going to be outputting a lot of damage, but if we scroll down and we have a look, we go down past the weapon damage bonuses and we go into defense. I only have 2500 health regen, but I've got 1.9 million armor on this build. I can still deal damage, I can still get kills, but nowhere near as much as I would with a DPS build, obviously. I have 53,437 armor on kill, 47,000 armor regen. I don't know why that's changed over. It's because I've still got the Badger Tough. I didn't save my loadout. If I put these on, there we go. So I've got 1-piece Balestone Armory in there now. We'll go through the gear in a moment. We'll just go into quickly. Here we go. So I've got 1.9 million armor. That hasn't changed. 53,400 armor on kill. 66,357 armor regen. I've then got 480k max health. 2,400 health regen. Then I've got some resistance. I've got no protection from elites, but I've got some resistance. You'll see all of the stats there. So we've got pulse resistance. Then there's explosive resistance, which is 12.3. And then besides burn, the rest of them are 18.9. I am running the Demolitionist specialization because if we go in here, it's not great for me exactly. Increase burn resistance by 20%. Armor kits repair 100% damage and boost weapon handling by 30% for 15 seconds. 10% increased explosives damage, affects explosive grenade skills and effects. Some of you will probably say to use a different specialization, but I'm only using this when I'm in a group, and it's to keep my group members alive more than me. So I have group members gain 5% damage to targets out of cover. Pulse resistance. When armor is reduced, it refills all the main weapon ammo, and I get to ignore explosions. So that 5% damage to targets out of cover is huge for my teammates. And then if we look at the build itself, I'm running the classic M1A. I've put the Harmony there so that I can use the Liberty. With the Liberty, hits grant a 2% weapon damage stack, and it stacks up to 30 times. When I hit a headshot, it consumes all of those stacks, and it repairs my shield for 3% per stack. So every time I get a hit with this Liberty, it's going to build up a stack, and then when I get to 5 stacks, I get 10% extra weapon damage, but then if I land a headshot, it consumes all of those stacks, and it's going to give me 15% of my shield health back. So the Liberty is an amazing pistol if you are running a shield. Then if we take a look, I've got a 511 mask because it gives me 10% health, and you'll see that all the stats are blue, armor on kill from the mod. They did mess up with the mods. There's been absolutely no attention given to it by the developers. All of your mods that were in your inventory, they would have been changed. If you had armor on kill, health on kill, anything like that, if you look, we'll take a look at my mods now, defensive. you'll see that it's all resistances. I don't have any more armor on kill in this mod list, and I had loads of them, all around 18,000 I think they were. But ever since Title Update 11, they've replaced those with all these stupid bloody resistance mods. I don't know why they've done it, I don't know anything about it, and the devs haven't, I believe a lot of people have been moaning about it, but they're not, they haven't paid attention to it. But you can see I've got armor regen, health, armor on kill on the mask, and because it's 511 tactical, I get 10% health. Moving over to the backpack, I'm running Gila Guard, and there is 3 of it, so total armor, health, and armor regen. I've got armor regen, health, and armor on kill on this piece as well, but the talent is Adrenaline Rush. This is such a good talent for a survivability build. Whenever you are within 10 meters of an enemy, so a similar way to how Ridgeway's Pride works, the same sort of distance, but with this, instead of being that close and an enemy bleeding giving you armor back, whenever you are within 10 meters, you gain 20% bonus armor for 5 seconds. It stacks up to 3 times, so you can get 60%, and the cooldown is 5 seconds. So you would have seen, through the gameplay that we showed just before this build bit, you would have seen that sometimes I'm getting blue armor, that's my bonus armor, and it goes up to 60% every time I'm within 10 meters of 3 enemies. So less enemies required, same distance, they don't need to be bleeding, and I'm getting bonus armor instead of my armor regen, because you would have seen my armor regen's pretty fast anyway. Then moving over, we have the Tardigrade, armor, explosive resistance, armor regen, armor on kill through the mod. It has the ablative nano plating. Whenever you or an ally's armor breaks, they gain 80% of your armor as bonus for 10 seconds. It only has a 45-second cooldown per ally, so if I'm playing with Pete, Con and Lewis, and Con loses his armor, after 45 seconds, he can use that again. Also, if you get a kill with your specialization weapon, it removes the cooldown for all allies. So if there's an enemy that is low, everyone's just used this ablative nanoplating, and I pop out the grenade launcher and I get a kill with it, everyone's cooldowns have gone, they've refreshed, so they can go and get their armor broke again. Then taking a look at the new gloves, I've replaced them from Badger Tough, and the Badger Tough ones were perfect, they were triple god rolled. I replaced those because I just had the one piece, so it was giving me shotgun damage. I don't use a shotgun, completely pointless, didn't plan on getting the 2-piece in the build at all. I've gone with Bellstone Armory, because I've got all the armor regen coming from the attributes, and then I get an extra 1% on top of that from the brand set. So Bellstone Armory is actually quite a good brand set for a survivability build. As you can see, if you run 2-piece, you get 10% armor on kill. I would rather have a little bit more health than I would the extra 10% armor on kill, because a lot of the time my armor is full anyway because of the shield I use. But you can see the attributes there, armor regen, hazard protection. Then if we move over to the holster, it's Gila Guard as well. Maxed out health, armor regen, armor. And then moving over to the knee pads, the final piece of Gila, armor regen, health, and armor again. There's not really a lot you can do in terms of blues. It's either armor, health, armor regen, hazard protection, explosive resistance. Just things like that you can get that actually roll from the blue attributes. I think that might actually be the only blue attribute you can get, not entirely sure. But this is what I run with. It's incredibly good, and it keeps my team alive. But as I said, if you're playing solo, then I would recommend taking the Tardigrade off and replacing it with a normal chest that has Unbreakable, or the 0Fs with Perfectly Unbreakable, because you get a bigger percentage of your armor back. If we quickly, I don't think I've got the 0Fs on me. Yeah, I have. There we go. Perfectly Unbreakable, you get all of your armor back. When your armor is depleted, repair 100% of it. The cooldown's 55 seconds. So as soon as an enemy comes along and they pop you, destroy your armor, you get all of your armor back, and then you got to wait 55 seconds for that to be able to proc again. But then it's Badger Tough, so 1 piece would just give you shotgun damage for the brand set, so you would either use like 2 pieces for the total armor or even 3 for armor on kill. Some people also prefer to use Foundry Bulwark. There's a few different survivability builds, but for a group, this is actually incredibly helpful. The skills I'm running at the moment is the Revive Hive, because I still make mistakes. I'm far too cocky with this build sometimes, so that will get me back up if I do make a mistake. Then I've got the Bulwark Shield. It's got an 18.2 second cooldown, 13.2 million HP, and then it regenerates 178,000 HP a second, and then when you've holstered it, 191,500 per second. This also builds up the skill tier because it's blues for this instead of, if you have a look at this, skill tier 0, because this requires yellows, whereas the shield requires blues. I've got 6 blues as my core attributes, so I've got all of that extra active regen, holstered regen, and the shield health itself. You'll see there at the top in the description, shield skill tier increases with both blue and yellow core attributes. So this is insane to run around, whack the Liberty out, get loads of body shots, and then when your shield is running low, pop a headshot, you get a load of shield health back. And as long as you are facing with your shield towards the enemies, they're not going to do a lot of damage. You can face tank a lot of the enemies. The heavies can't really do a lot to you either. Even the bleed stinger hive from the big like chunguses for the white tusk on legendary difficulty. So yeah, that is my survivability build. Strongly recommend Tardigrade over the Ridgeway's Pride. I don't like that chest at all. It needs reworking. As I said, double the distance of being able to make enemies bleed, then remove the distance you need to be, like how close you need to be to the enemies in order to get that armor regen, and also work, like the whole thing needs a rework, because I don't believe the percentages of your armor you get back are good either. The Tardigrade gives you bonus armor when your armor is depleted, whereas Ridgeway's Pride will just build your armor back up faster, but you can get a similar amount if you just run armor regen attributes. So that is going to do it for the video. Let me know your thoughts and stuff about it in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.